In this video, we're going to create this cool keychain. Now, in previous videos, I've shown you some other keychains, but this one is sort of related to current events. This is a keychain of the Dominican Republic baseball team logo for the World Baseball Classic. And I'm really hyped about this tournament. So I'm going to give it a go. And this is the result. So if you stick around, I'll show you how to make this. So these 3 filaments I picked up in Hobby Lobby. Who knew? They just started stocking these. And I have a few of them. I've bought a few of them. And I have never used them. So for this project, I'm going to use these 3. And I'm going to give my opinion on how they print and if they're worth it. I mean, they're not too expensive, $14.99 on Amazon. You know, filaments range from 10 to 20. So this is right in the middle. So let's give it a go and see if it's worth buying. So I've been watching the World Baseball Classic and I got inspired. So the Dominican Republic team, when they celebrate, they actually have a chain with a medallion of their logo. And I thought I could replicate that with my 3D printer. So here we are in Canva Affinity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, New, and then create a new document. I made a 1080p, but it doesn't really matter because we're going to bring in a ping that I downloaded from the internet, and we're going to trace that as a vector. So I'm going to drop the ping into Canva, Affinity Canva. I don't really know what to call it, so let's go with that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the vector and let's lock this layer so it doesn't move around. So I'm going to create a container layer. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and go into the pen tool. And I'm going to start tracing. So what I'm doing right now is I click and I'm holding down Shift so that it stays constrained to a certain angle. And let's make this transparent so that we can see the ping behind it. So I'm going to click on here, which basically negates the fill. Now all you see is a stroke, and I'm going to continue doing this. Then I'm going to click on the last point or the first point, and now we have this here. But the problem is that we still don't have so if I turn on the color on this, if I go here and put red, you see it doesn't have the open space for the R here. So what I have to do is I'm gonna go back and turn off the stroke, and I'm gonna go back to this tool. I'm gonna click here, 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 and click on the last one. So what we have now is this and that. So now what I want to do is I want to click the 2 objects. I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to geometry, and then I'm going to go to subtract. And that what that's going to do is going to combine both things, and it's going to make basically whatever's inside the other curve is going to actually subtract it. So if I turn on the color on this, as you can see, it basically the R from the logo with the open space in the middle. So we're going to lock that by clicking on this lock. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the D. So we're going to go back to the pen tool, and we're going to start tracing the D. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to trace the space inside. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to select these 2, and then what we're going to do is we're going to right click go to geometry and then subtract. And if we change the color of the fill, now we have the two. So now if you want one to be on top of the other one, you basically do that. So actually their logo, it kind of intersects. So what I might have to do is I might have to create a hole for the D here and a hole for the R here. So let's do that. With the node tool selected, we're gonna click somewhere in the line where we want to put a new point. Click again. And then I'm gonna do the same thing up top. Boom. What I want to do with the node tool selected is hold down Control and then click on the portion of the line that I want to erase, here and here. Okay, let's temporarily turn these off here so that we can have more clarity and see what's going on. So I'm gonna select this, and then I'm gonna select this by holding down Shift, and I'm gonna right click, and I'm gonna go to Join Curves. It's gonna create a line in between these 2 points to join them, and I'm gonna do the same thing with this one. Click, click, Join Curves, and now we have the D with the gap in the middle. So now we want to do the same thing for the R. So let's turn on our R, and what we need to do is we need to select, well, we need to unlock it first. Select it, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna click again on the node tool, click on where we want to add the point, and then again Control click the areas you want to remove, click, Shift click, right click, Join Curves, click, Shift click, Join Curves, and now we have vectors. So what we want to do next is duplicate these 2 layers. So we're going to select them, Shift select, and then we're going to go right click, duplicate. And then what we want to do is let's hide these 2 on the bottom. Okay. And then with that selected, what we're going to do is we're going to click on the contour tool, but we don't want to round joints. We want actually miter joints. So we're going to click on this button right here, and then we're going to click somewhere on that one curve, and then we're going to come here and go like this. Okay, good. So now we have that. So what that has done is actually made, so if we make these 2 white, so let's select these 2, select that one, and change the fill to white, or let's make it black so we can see it, and then do the same thing for this one. Let's make the fill black again, and then if we move these to be on top, and then we turn them on, and just so you can see this a little bit better, we're going to change the color of this one too. You're going to put it as yellow. So now there's an outline around the letters, but we don't want this gap here for the outline. So what we need to do is we need to go back. Let's hide everything else except for the ones that we're changing. Let's turn off this one. Let's just work on the D. So what we need to do is we need to go back to the node tool, and Affinity has a really cool tool that fills in the holes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to geometry, and then down here we're going to click on fill holes. Boom. And we're gonna do the same thing with the R. So I'm gonna hide the D, click on the R, right click, and geometry, fill holes. I'm gonna window select these nodes, and I'm gonna right click and delete node. And I actually want to delete these two just in case. So then do the same thing, window select and then delete node. So now if we turn these on, and actually let's join these two. So I'm gonna go back to geometry and combine. Ooh, not what I wanted. Okay, so now we have this, and what we could do is we could turn everything on, and as you can see, it kind of looks like what we had before. But I actually want to turn this into a keychain, so I'm gonna put a few circles here so that we could attach the actual chain. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go to this tool, the rectangle tool, and change it to the ellipse tool. And I'm gonna draw a circle somewhere here. And we wanna hold down Shift so that otherwise it will be squashed. And Shift just constrains it and it makes it a perfect circle. So I'm gonna do that. And I'm gonna bring it somewhere here. It doesn't have to be perfect, just somewhere there. And then from there, actually, let's make it smaller. And then we're gonna duplicate it. And then we're gonna use the contour tool again. Nice. So then what I want to do is I want to window select both, right click, geometry, subtract. And then what I'm going to do is bring this over here. And then I need to add this to this. So I'm going to select the circle and then this, and then I'm going to go geometry, add. And now we have something where the keychain attaches. I actually don't want this to be that big because it'll be a little flimsy here and here. I actually want to tighten this a little bit more. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna Control Z on Windows and Command Z on Mac. And I'm gonna take the smaller one and I'm going to, so now they're not like center. So what I want to do is I want to come here, right click, alignment, align center, and then go back and right click, alignment, align middle, and that'll put it in the center. So now what you want to do is you want to go to geometry and then subtract, and then move this over. More or less center, and then click on the outline and click on it, and then go to geometry, and then we're going to do add. Now we have a cool keychain that we could use. We're going to bring all this into Tinkercad and we're going to extrude it. So I'm going to save each layer as a SVG. So what you want to do is you want to hide each layer and then export them individually. So I'm gonna hide this, click on the R, and then I'm going to go to File, Export, and then this window is gonna come out. And then what you want to do is you want to look for SVG, for export, and then I'm gonna click on ask for location, export. And what I want to do is I want to put it somewhere where I'll find it. I'm just going to drop it on my desktop. And I'm going to call it R. And then save. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the other ones. Here we are in Tinkercad, so I'm going to click import, and I'm going to drag in the R. It's telling me it's too big. Imported shape is larger than Tinkercad's workspace, limited to 1000. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale it to 50. It doesn't really matter because it's a vector, so it'll scale. So I'm going to do 50 and I'm going to import it. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same for the D. So let's do 50. And the reason I'm doing the same thing is because I want them all to fall exactly the location that I want them to. Otherwise, we will have to arrange them by eye. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on, I'm going to import the background. Let's do 50. Import. Boom. Now everything's in. We want the background to be behind everything else, so I'm going to click on this, click on the middle, and then I'm going to change this to 9. And I'm probably going to do this temporarily. 9. Okay. And that's only because if I would have left it like that, I wouldn't be able to select the other ones. Actually, I'm still having trouble selecting the other ones. Actually, no, I'm selecting the R. So if I left it at 10, I would have problems selecting the other ones. So I'm probably gonna change it back, but for now, let's click on the R. I wanna click here, and I'm gonna make this 12. Actually, this is gonna be 14. And then let's click on the D, and we're gonna make the D 12. And then what we need is go back to this. You don't have to, but I want to. So I'm gonna do 10. Next step when we're gonna print it is gonna be easier for us to select each one and do our painting in Bambu Studio. So I'm gonna select all of it, and I'm actually gonna combine it, and now it's one object. And then what I'll do is I'll click on here and I'll actually scale it. Remember to hold down Shift, bring it down here. And let me see how big it is. It's 102. So it's like 4 inches. That's pretty big. It's gonna be like 4x3. Let's make it a little bit smaller. So we're gonna make it like 3x2. Let's center it. And we're basically done. So now the next step is we're going to export it. We're gonna go to STL, and then it's gonna download it. So here we are in Bambu Studio, and I'm gonna drag in the STL. Boom, it put it in the middle, and it's actually, if we check the size, it looks like it kept the same size as before. So let's change the color of this. So right now is one color. We want to paint it in Bambu Studio, but first I want to do is I want to change this to white. So I'm going to click 3 because that's my white color. And then I'm going to go into painting. So with painting, it's pretty easy. I'm going to go to fill. I want the art to be red. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click 1, and that's going to change my color. And I'm going to click on fill, click on that. And then I'm going to go around and select all the small edges on the side of the art. Look, it's not the end of the world if you miss a spot, but I'd rather not. So I'm going to make sure that I see. Sometimes these things are hidden. You might not see them. So everything's done. So now we're going to go for the D. So I'm going to click 2, and that's going to select my second color, which is blue. And if you select something by accident, just Control Z or Command Z on Mac. I'm just checking to make sure that I didn't miss anything. Doesn't look like it. We'll find out though. And once you're done, I'm gonna go back to Bambu Studio, and I want to go to Strength, and I want to do Gyroid, and that's really it. Speed-wise doesn't matter, and support, we don't need supports because this is flat. So I'm gonna click Slice Plate. And it says it's gonna take 33 minutes. So let's go for it and see how it comes up. All right, like I said in the beginning of the video, this is the result. It's a little bit thin, unfortunately, and some of the colors are bleeding here, but I did go back to Bambu Studio, made it a little bit thicker, and the results are great. Our filaments from Hobby Lobby are, I can't complain. They're really good. They're priced at middle of the road, which is $15. You could go on Amazon and buy something for $10, something for $20, or you could go here and buy, something for 15 bucks. These are excellent so far. The colors are very vibrant, and the material is pretty good. I haven't put it through its paces, so I can't really tell you, but the result of this is pretty good. So, hey, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you enjoy the content on my channel, please subscribe. Please take care of yourselves and your loved ones. Peace.